Hello everyone and welcome back to the Cyclocross Social podcast. Already time for the 20th episode of this season, and today we'll be taking a look ahead at the 5th round of the UCI Cyclocross World Cup in Overijse. With me here to do that as usual are Twan.
Hello.
And Issam.
Hey everybody.
The 5th round takes place in Overijse, which is the oldest Belgian cross. It's been organized 80 times already. That's quite a lot of times. Throughout the years the parcours has undergone some changes. It's the same parcours this year as last year, however. Issam, what type of parcours can we expect?
Well, it's going to be a little bit of rain, which is going to be falling in Belgium, so I guess it's going to be a little muddy. It's going to be very hard. Obviously, there are some couple sections, some longer asphalt sections as well. So I think it's a very hard race in a way, and it's also going to be very difficult. And with the mud, obviously, it's going to be very slippery, so the guys and the girls that have the technical abilities will obviously shine a little bit more, but also the ones with a lot of power can actually get that power around on the parkour.
Last week in Zonhoven we had a very exciting and close men's race. Do you expect the same in Zonhoven, or do you think that the muddy conditions will basically put the strongest riders at the front right from the start?
I do think that will happen. It's a bit harder of a course in a way that it is a bit easier to make mistakes. It is easier to make gaps, especially when the conditions are quite tough. So you'll more naturally see the stronger guys and women in front in the races.
And who are you guys backing then?
I think the ones that are normally good in a little bit more climbing parcours will be also good in this one. I think you can definitely look at a guy as Vanthourenhout, despite the fact that he's not really in the best shape. I think he will be definitely one to look out for. But I guess the guy that's in quite good form, Aerts, and also Iserbyt are just the ones, the stronger guys will always come up. And obviously Pieterse and Hermans, I will give him a good shout as well.
Yeah, I think Aerts is one of the guys that you really have to watch out for. Michael Vanthourenhout that is on form, I think really finds a course that is going to suit him here. And this is the type of cross where I think Iserbyt might struggle a little bit more with tough conditions. I think if it doesn't rain quite as much as we're thinking right now, Iserbyt stands a very good chance because it is a course that if dry, I think is also very good for him.
Yeah, I agree with that. On a dry parkour here, we should see a very strong Iserbyt, but for now there's a lot of rain forecasted the entire Saturday and Sunday. It will be raining, so if that rain actually falls, I would indeed look at Aerts, but I'm quite scared to predict Aerts because Aerts has been great this season, but he's also been very disappointing from time to time. In Gieten, rainy conditions, he was really good. In Zonhoven, he was really good. I think in Waterloo, he was good as well. But there were also some more average performances in there. So for Aerts, I guess he really needs a good day because it's been a bit inconsistent this season.
Yeah, I guess so. And in Zonhoven, it was also, a very strong race. And then as well, it was a lot of ups and downs in that race alone. And obviously for his whole season, it's like that. But I think, just looking at his abilities in general, he should be a pick for the top 3 positions and has a good shot of winning the race for sure.
Yeah, I think that as well, because if we consider the muddy conditions, I would be looking indeed at Aerts and less at his teammate Lars van der Haar. I would, like as you said, Issam, I think that Aerts, Hermans and Vanthourenhout have the benefit on this muddier parcours over the likes of Van der Haar, Iserbyt and Sweeck. Although Iserbyt will probably end on the podium because he always manages to find a way to that podium. But if it's really muddy with a lot of running, then I think we might see Iserbyt in trouble and lose even more points of his World Cup lead.
I mean, in a way, I think that Iserbyt has shown that even on the races, especially like Fayetteville, even in the races where he's not really the main favorite, not a guy that's typically good at those type of parcours, he's shown that he's quite okay and he can handle himself quite well. So I think it will be very interesting to see how his performance will be, because I personally think that he won't be struggling that much and that he will definitely be able to be close to the other guys.
I mean, last year when we raced here, it was also muddy, and we could see already big differences in the beginning of the race. I think Van der Poel opened the lead until we punctured over Van Aert, and then ultimately needed to settle for that second place. But behind that, the gaps were pretty big, and I would expect the same here. And I would look, my top 3 picks would probably be Aerts, Hermans, and Iserbyt, based on the fact that Vanthourenhout is kind of struggling after that issue he had with his stomach previously. So I would be looking at Iserbyt, Aerts, and the Hermans to fight it out. And for the rest, I really don't see any other riders that can compete outside of the names that we just mentioned, like the riders that were at the front in Zonhoven as well.
I do think the 6 guys that we saw in Zonhoven at the front of the race are the 6 main guys, and depending on the course, one of them falls away, one of them comes in, and then we may see some surprise performances by some of maybe the U23 riders, maybe Corné van Kessel for the U23 riders. Think about Kamp if he finds his way. Ronhaar, Emil Verstringen was very good as well in Fayetteville at 10th place. Maybe if he found some extra form, then he can maybe put in a challenge for a top 5 placing.
Yeah, perhaps some other names I would be looking at are his teammates. That would be Kuhn and Thomas Main. Of course, Main, he is struggling. He had a serious crash on the road, as Tom told us in the preview for, I think it was Waterloo, and he hasn't been very good this season, but that's of course due to that crash, and he's recovering from that. But if he's in good form, this parcours should be something for him. He usually likes a bit of climbing, a bit of running, and he also likes the mud, so perhaps this would be something for Thomas Main.
Yeah, if it's really gonna be that tough, and it seems to look like that, definitely a guy to count on. And the thing is, especially if you're gonna compare it to the last edition where Van Aert won, the difference it's gonna be probably is because you miss those 3 guys that were really putting on a very high pace and that were in their kind of best shape cyclocross wise. I think you're gonna miss that now, so it's gonna be interesting to see if that, because they miss kind of the guys that are going to put a high pace on, if it's really going to be that stretched out, or is it going to be more a battle between the 6 guys or 5 or 3. That's going to be interesting. But indeed, I think with Main, definitely a guy that loves these kind of conditions, almost likes to suffer or something. So I guess he's someone to to watch out for the top 10.
Yeah, I do agree on that. I also have like a last name, Felipe Aerts. He was pretty good in Ruddervoorde, got himself a top 10 there. However, here in Overijse, I don't expect wonders from him. He usually likes the faster crosses, and in Overijse, with the rain predicted, he won't find one. He doesn't like the running, he doesn't like the big power sections in the mud, so I wouldn't be expecting anything big from Felipe Aerts. Let's turn to some predictions then. Issam, you get to go first. What do you think for the podium positions?
Despite something saying that Twan and Issam is going to win, I will say that Vanthourenhout will win. Just because I think he's a bit more clever tactically. And then Twan and Issam in second and Quint and Hermans in third.
I'll be going with Twan and Issam as the winner, with in second place Quint and Hermans, and rounding out the podium, I think it will be Iserbyt.
Twan just grabbing away the podium that I wanted to take. So I will be going here with then the win for Quint and Hermans ahead of Twan and Issam, and in third place Michael Vanthourenhout. Let's turn ourselves to the women's race then. Almost all the big names are at the start. Clara Honsinger made the trip over the ocean, and it will be starting here. Capablanca Vas is also back. That basically only leaves us with Marianne Vos not being here. In this very strong starting field, who do you guys expect to be at the front of the race?
Well, I think that you obviously again have to look at the ones that were very good in the last few weeks. I think Betsema had a very good weekend and was also like pretty strong starting from the beginning of the season. I think obviously Brandt had some issues, but it seems like in Zonhoven she kind of get to a rhythm in a way. So I think that she will be also not in her full 100%, I guess, but definitely in some sort of condition that will be enough to bring the fight up to Betsema. And I think after that you have to look at the women's that we have seen a little bit, fighting for the 3 to 5th positions with a Pieterse and also with an Alvarado that came back very strong in Zonhoven, in my opinion. So I think that those are the ones that we have to look for.
I think it's really important to see, like, Brandt has been very strong here over the past years, and I think this is a perfect weekend for her to bounce back and get back to winning ways. And of course, Betsema, Alvarado, Pieterse, indeed, just a bunch of amazing women that will be trying to challenge her as far as possible.
Yeah, I will definitely be looking at Brandt here as top favorite because I think she will be able to bounce back from that cold that she had and that really affected her. So I will be looking here at Brandt probably to be the woman to beat here. And then Betsema, of course, leader in the World Cup, as a very strong challenger. Not many points between Brandt and Betsema, so that's definitely a fight shaping up. I would expect less personally from Pieterse. This season she's been better on the slightly faster parcourses. We saw it in Zonhoven, we saw it in Iowa. She was better there than she was in Gieten and of course Fayetteville as well, although she has been on great form this season. But yeah, I would kind of expect more from maybe the likes of Worst and Kastelijn, because there's quite a lot of climbing and both Worst and Kastelijn like that. For Kastelijn, however, muddy downhills will probably still be an issue for her. But yeah, Worst is, in my opinion, definitely somebody we shouldn't overlook here.
Definitely, and I think the same goes for Honsinger and Vas, two very capable women on this kind of parcours as well.
Yeah, definitely for Honsinger, this is like the perfect parcours. However, crucial for her will be to get a good start, and that probably won't happen. So then it comes down to, can she already move forward on the asphalt climb, because if she can do that, she can still like go into the field in a decent position and then start aiming for a good result. And I think that if she gets a good start, I wouldn't even put it past her to compete for the win here. But considering I do not think she will have a good start, I think for Honsinger, the top 5 or podium will be the maximum achievable.
Yeah, but it depends. It's really depends if the pace up front is gonna be very high, because I think obviously with Betsema there, she's gonna ride even if the pace drops, she's still gonna ride. Brandt is a little bit more tactical in a way. She knows that if there are some in her wheel, she will back out of it a little bit. So it's she's also starting a bit more at the front. So let's hope and pray that she's gonna have a good start. Maybe with the hill, it's going to be a bit slower. People are not really going to be flying up those hills. So it's just, we have to wait and see. But I think, I hope that the start is not going to hamper that much. Because I think if she really gets, if she really has an okay first lap, she definitely has a chance to be on the podium for sure.
Yeah, she even has a chance of getting a podium if she doesn't have a great first lap. But that's kind of the thing. She should be able to consistently be around that position and fight for the win if she does get good starts. And in Iowa, she started on the first row, but went into the field outside the top 20, and the pace there, I mean, it's not necessarily about the pace. It's like you need to have an opportunity to overtake, and maybe in Overijse that's a bit easier as there's more uphill, so you can power past people or run past people. Honsinger is a pretty good runner as well, only the shouldering is a bit slow. But I do definitely see opportunities here for Honsinger, but she would definitely need to get a good start. Something that Capablanca Vas probably will get, even though I'm not sure. I don't think she's on the first row. She would be on the second row, I guess. But I do think that Capablanca Vas is also a very good outsider for a podium place here.
I just want to maybe add another name on it, because we're naming already a few, but I think it's also interesting to see how Legner and Arsoufi, but more the focus on Legner, how she will perform, because I think she had some couple of good races, and this is definitely a parcours, if it's tough, that might bring her in the top 10.
Yeah, I definitely think that Legner cant top 10 here. She's shown it before this season that she's capable of ending in the top 10 of a World Cup. I think that's definitely something possible here. A couple of years ago, she might have been able to compete for the win here, or at least the podium, but Lechner is also getting kind of old, so it's still impressive that she can get in the top 10. But I don't think for a podium, the last name that we should still discuss, in my opinion, is last year's winner, Sayun Del Carmen Alvarado. Do you guys, I mean, you briefly mentioned her. What type of race do you expect from her?
I think she'll struggle a bit more on the uphills. I don't know. It's just her coming back from the period off. It's just it's not quite where she was last year, and I think this isn't really a course in the first place where I would say Alvarado is like favorite compared to Brandt. So I can see her being around that top 5 for sure, but I struggle to see her really challenge Brandt.
I tend to disagree on that. I think actually that she's going to be fighting for that podium. I think in Zonhoven I've seen enough to think that she will be able to actually do something, because I think especially with her, with her technical abilities, the way she sits on the bike, she's very confident. I think those things will definitely help her. I think the one thing that's not really going to help her in the beginning is that she has to start from probably third row. So that's the only downside I see. But I think that Zonhoven, in my opinion, gave me a lot of confidence to say that she can actually bring up the fight. If she's gonna win it, I don't think so. She's just gonna miss out on it, I guess, on the end of the race, because she doesn't have, the full volume. But I wouldn't be surprised if she makes it on the podium.
I think she is a competitor for a podium, but it's a lot of power here. Zonhoven, I saw a combination of technique and power that looked pretty good already, considering where she came from. But I'm not that sure that she will do very great here. She usually suffers a bit on the climbing parcourses. Of course, the Koppenberg is a completely different story, but that's not her favorite cross. Namur, she also always slightly struggles compared to what she does on other courses. And Overijse, well, it involves quite a lot of climbing, but last year she won, so it definitely proves that if she is good, she can win. But I don't think she's at that level just yet. But she could be, if she improves this weekend, I think she can win in the European Championships next weekend. Well, then we can make some predictions, and this time, Twan, you can go first.
I'll go with a Lucinda Brandt victory ahead of Clara Honsinger and Denise Betsema.
And what do you think, Issam?
I'm gonna play it safe and just say then Betsema, I guess, and then in front of Vas and then Honsinger.
That's very ambitious, but I will be going here for the win for Lucinda Brandt, and then in second place I think we will find Clara Honsinger, and in third place probably Alvarado. Well, then I think we've had it for the preview of the 5th round of the World Cup in Overijse. Thanks everyone for listening. Twan and Issam, thank you guys for tuning in and talking with me about it.
Thanks for having me on.
No worries, thank you.
We will be making another preview podcast for the Koppenberg Cross that gets released this Friday, and then of course there is no race this Saturday, but we will be covering the World Cup in Overijse and the Koppenberg Cross on Monday, so make sure to stay tuned for those podcasts, and I will see you guys then. Goodbye.